Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Juan Carlos Brando, and here today we are talking with the attorney Margaret W. Wong. As usual, like every Thursday afternoon, we are joining her to get in touch with all of you and talk about immigration, what's going on in the immigration world. And we are able to talk to the attorney Margaret W. Wong, who has over 46 years of experience working on this field. And this is a good space that you can ask for immigration advice. The attorney Margaret W. Wong has been working on this field for over 46 years, and she has been helping thousands and thousands of families every single year to get immigration relief. So thank you so much for joining us today. And don't forget that you can send your questions or call the phone number 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Let's welcome the attorney Margaret W. Wong. Hello, Ms. Wong. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and thank you. And happy birthday, Mr. Juan Carlos.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. I appreciate your words. And yeah, it's exciting to get a certain age, but still going. Some people are asking me, "Hey, when are you gonna retire?" It's like I'm about to get
so young. I'm more than double your age. That's very
not more than double. You used to be double my age, but now I'm getting there. Yeah, so thank you so much for your passion, Ms. Wong, and to keep working all of these years, and looking forward to keep working, because that passion has to be there forever. I hear your comment one day that retiring is starting to die little by little. So never retire. Never retire. And talking about never quitting or never retiring, let's talk about the immigration field. These years, we know that have been so hectic about immigration. People coming in those caravans, coming and trying to make it here to the United States no matter what. Groups of people coming with their kids, trying to make it into the United States. And I've seen some people from my country getting arrested in the city of New York for doing disorder in the road, drinking alcohol on the roads, and getting in trouble with the police department in the city of New York. So once we make it here, Ms. Wong, what's your advice for us to stay in the United States and to have a good life in this country?
Right. So the whole thing is, please understand American immigration system. Also, make sure that we read like a book a week, read English, read newspaper, because the newspaper not just tells us the daily event, because where we came from, like from Hong Kong, we have 28 newspapers at one time. Of course, that 1997, Hong Kong went back to China. So absolutely read the newspaper, read and read and read. I still remember when I first came to America, I was enamored by the article New Yorker. I thought, oh my gosh, it's still there. So keep reading whatever you like. And you got into the mainstream. It takes about 3 to 5 years to really know the legal system. Like, for example, in America, it's illegal to have a relationship with minors or without consent. I mean, they could be 50 years old or 45 years old, but if they say no, you mean no. It's not like in a lot of foreign countries, a lot of men and women, when they may no, they mean yes. You couldn't just be a bully. And you cannot drink and drive, even walking on the street, like in the Far East. They don't, because most people don't drive, and sometimes they're drunk, they sleep on the road in the morning, they don't go home, and that's legal. In America, that's not legal. Little things like that. So that's one thing. The other thing is America, it's really interesting. We just read for citizenship application, because Trump changed so much. Now Biden is going back. So the questions, it goes back to the 2008 questions. So lawyers like us who has practiced like approaching 50 years now have to go back to the questions of 2008. There was a time to get a green card, you have to have the virus shots. Now you don't, it just started. So now I have to tell my clients, don't worry about the virus shot, because we do have some clients who doesn't believe in the virus shot. And also for certain religion, when you become a citizen, you could, you don't have to sign certain portion of citizenship. So under Trump, that's off. Now it's back on. So that's a lot of changes, but it's sort of fun. But the nice thing about nowadays is you have the USCIS website that's really up to date. Like in the olden days, you really have to go on work experience and your 100 last cases to see what's the trend. Now everything is on this USCIS website. The TPS, the parole, the extension of TPS, the continuous day fiscal presence, 245I, they're all there. So things are changing. I really think America is changing for the better for the US immigration system. And I feel bad for the new arrivals, because now with Google, they dress very nice. I still remember in my younger days, we can't afford a winter coat when I came to America. And I couldn't afford a pair of snow boots, because in the Far East, we don't need boots. We don't need winter coats. But now it's like people dress nice. They sort of know what America is all about, but they don't really see the underlying side. America is really a hardworking country, and people didn't know that. They just thought, oh, their parents will help support them and stuff. So times have changed.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Yeah, you're right. Times have changed. It's been a while since we have seen many, many changes. And I just remember not very long ago when I mean, immigration was different. I think that 9/11 changed the immigration pattern so much. I don't know how different it was before 9/11 in 2001. I was barely in my first year of law school in Venezuela when that happened, but you were already working on the immigration field. So can you just tell me a little bit of how was the immigration field in the United States before 9/11 and how it changed after that event?
Because before 9/11, number one, the fingerprints, you don't need to clear. As long as it appears to be okay, they give you a benefit of doubt. That's like volunteering for tax return. When other country people look at us and say, how do they believe this is the money you make? And they don't audit you. It's just that belief in the American character that we will file tax return, we'll tell the truth on the tax return. Even though we don't tell the truth, it's very much on tax shelters, legal tax shelters, illegal tax shelter, but at least the gross income, we have 1099, we have W-2, we have cash, so we report it. But through the years, nowadays, especially after or before Trump or after Trump, even the tax system changed. Now it's assumed that we lie on our tax return. It's assumed that we lie on our asylum paperwork. But you're right, it's all after September 11th. Before, they don't check as much fingerprints. They also give you a benefit of the doubt. They assume marriages are real unless you show them otherwise. They don't do as much site visits. They assume the asylum information is right until the Real ID Act came in the year 2000s. So I still remember cases that we would have gotten approvals before September 11th, and after September 11th, actually it's not directly after that, it's after 2002, 2003 that things really changed when Homeland Security came in. Before it, that's always have that benefit, the benefiting of the aliens. I shouldn't use the word aliens. The benefiting is not so much deportation, it's more they came to America, they suffered for a few years. Now it's their time to get green cards so they can file tax return. Now it's reactive, proactive. The foreign-borns became more aggressive. The government also in turn becomes more aggressive. The whole criminalization of a civil immigration practice.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for sharing this. And yeah, some people say that even during the government of Bill Clinton, it was when some of the immigration laws were changed that had huge changes at that point. And yeah, well, I don't really know about that because I used to come to the United States as a visitor back in the 90s. But I've heard that's why the 245i came up. So, could we talk about what the 245i is
As
and
time
how can
goes
apply for
on,
it?
yes, as time goes on, people forgot about 245i, but 245i was huge. That's the only time in history that I remember, and I've been doing this for a long, long time, that immigration actually opened 2 or 3 nights up to midnight in those few days just to allow us a chance to file the paperwork. People hurried up and get married, longtime partners that have children. Now they have a deadline to get married to file. And they are lucky, and I feel very bad, mostly for the Latino population, because the Indians, the Chinese, again, you need to read the newspaper. We talked about in our radios, we talked about in our newspapers. All the lawyers who were consulting tell people you need to have your boss file a labor cert, you need to have your spouse file it now, you need to have your parents, because in those days, a lot of people got the amnestia green card, they never filed. So those few days, actually, our law firm for 2 years in a row in 2001 and 2000 or 2002 took our people out for 2 cruises because we worked so hard those last few weeks of that year. So, but the Latino people, most of them, they don't have 245i. If they have it, they're very inadvertent. They were not thinking. But if you look at most Indian people and Chinese people, um, we all have 245i. What does that mean? That means we filed the labor cert, or we filed I-130, or we filed the I-130 before April of 2001. There are 3 deadlines: November 1997, January 14th of 1998, and April 30th of 2001. Those dates are like ingrained in our minds and our heads. So every time we do consult through the past 25 years, we always have your parents file for you, have auntie, uncles file for your parents. How did your siblings get green card? Because a lot of times the siblings get the green card through the parents, but then the kid age out. So they'll say, oh yeah, I think my parents gave it. They say, whoa, let us look at the paperwork because there could be a 245i. That was fun.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And yes, many people don't know about 245i. If you have an application or someone in your family has been there forever and has some qualifications, you may qualify for 245i. And not many attorneys know about this, but Ms. Wong really knows about the 245i. So let's start with the questions from our audience. And the first one comes and says, my son filed for me the green card and I already got it. Now I want to travel to my country, but my passport is expired. Can I travel without my passport to get a new one in my country?
No, you need a one-way travel document because anytime you travel international, you need 3 things. Right of entry to wherever you're going. In this case, of course, you can go to your home country. The second is an international travel document. Number 3 is a visa to allow you to come back. Your visa to allow you to come back is your green card, but you need that international travel document. So you need a one-way travel document to go back to home country so you can apply for a passport and come back. Another thing you can get is what we call re-entry permit. Re-entry permit, on the other hand, takes about 1.5 years now. But if you need it for travel purposes, you need to attach your ticket and push immigration and give you what we call a re-entry permit.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. And if you need more advice, just give us a call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Ms. Wong, this question is interesting. How long does it take to get an O visa?
That's a very good question. Actually, O visa is a lot of fun. We have been getting some chefs O visas. We've been getting some people that, like under maybe even Obama, they don't qualify now. O visa is a little bit easier. If you want to expedite it, it takes 2 or 3 weeks. I don't recommend expedite unless you have a really good case. If you don't expedite, it takes about maybe 2 or 3 months. headquarters just came out with a new memo saying that if you're STEM, that means if you're science, it's a lot easier to get O visa. And don't forget, you can get O visa from fashion designer, fashion models, H-1B. You can get fashion designers, but not for models. In fact, Mrs. Trump came to America on an O visa. So if you know expeditious 3 to 4 months, 2 to 3 months, expeditious 2 to 3 weeks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for this answer. This person says, hi, Mrs. Wong. I came to the United States on a B2 visitor visa, got TPS. I am from Venezuela. Can I file for labor cert?
Yes. As long as you got TPS during the 6 months of the tourist visa, that because you're not allowed even 1 day out for employment, you have 180 days out of status. So as long as you're less than, that means you were never out of status. You got tourist visa, you've got the TPS during the 6 months of tourist visa, or at least in less than 6 months after you're out of status. So yes, you can do a labor cert. The question is not so much, can I do a labor cert? You can always do a labor cert. The question is, after I'm successful in my perm labor cert and I-140, can I directly adjust in America? The answer is yes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And yeah, Ms. Wong, and even if this person didn't file within the 6 months, could this person file for labor cert, maybe if they get an advance parole and come back here?
No, advance parole only applies if you have a child over 21 and spouse who's a citizen. Those apply to only immediate relative. Any employment-based green card, you cannot be out of status 180 days.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That's very, very interesting. And if you need more advice, just give us a call. The phone number 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Next question comes from India. Hi, Ms. Wong. Can I travel on advanced parole through Wawa? I have perm bar.
Yes, absolutely. Perm, Wawa and U visas are the only 2 visas that absolves perm bar. You need to explain also during the Wawa application, and especially a green card application, that the perm bar, that means you left and you come back illegally, that you need to explain that the reason resulting in, like, I left for 3 months and I came back, the reason why I left is because of abuse. Like, my ex-husband pushed me to leave with him because I was pregnant. I was totally, I need him. So because of the abuse, then you get away with perm bar.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And yeah, this person says that wants to, also that re-entry was related to his wife bringing him here to the United States.
Good. Not just for her to bring you here, is if there is an abuse that she made you come in with her or something like that.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. Next question says, hi, I'm from Honduras, naturalized American, have lived here for 28 years. My mom tried to come on a B2 visitor visa, but there was a problem with her passport, and they thought it was a phony passport in the American embassy in Honduras, and they denied the B2 visitor visa. My question is, how can I overcome that denial? Because the next time she tried, they say that she lied to immigration and they will not give her a new visa.
It depends. One way to do it, to bring her here, you are a citizen, you can file for the I-130 and then pay the IV fee, the $120, $325. They're thinking of increasing it, and then bring her in. But if there's any fraud, she'll need a qualifying relative. Maybe bring your father first, and then the father can give her a 601 waiver. Or if she has parents, only parents and spouse can do a 601 fraud waiver. But if she has no, or you have no father, or she doesn't have a husband who has a green card, then you need to argue no fraud. So you need to look at the 2 times tourist visa denial, because if it's denied based on 214B, there's no appeal because there's no ties to home country. But denied based on fraud, based on lying, you may want to do a non-immigrant visa application. If it's approved, it's good for 5 years, then she can still come on a tourist visa. But maybe argue there was no fraud. But NIV, you don't need a qualifying relative. So if you want to reapply for tourist visa and apply for the pardon, the waiver, you don't even need a form, it's just a letter. But if you want the green card, you need a fraud waiver. That's the problem.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. This is a question that I've never heard before. Never, ever, ever heard this before. It says, would it hurt if I get a fourth nationality? My dad is from Canada. My mom is from Australia. I was born in America and got married to a British person. I already have 3 nationalities, and I would like to apply for my husband's nationality. Can I do that?
So what's the question? The question is, I want to be British, or I want to apply for my foreign-born husband?
No, this person wants to get a fourth nationality because she already has 3. She's
okay.
Canadian.
Oh, that's easy. You just have to talk to a local immigration lawyer. I'm sure you could do it. It doesn't matter, because in America, if you get another nationality, so when you travel, leaving America, you need to show American passport. When you go to Europe, or when you go anywhere, you can show that passport is okay. But some countries like China, Korea, once you get like another nationality, they won't give you a passport. But Canada is not like that. America is not like that. And you also have Australia. I think Australia is not like that, because I've seen a lot of Australians becoming American, and Australia still give a passport later. America does not take away other countries' passport. So absolutely, you could talk to a local immigration lawyer from that country and tell them your husband could give you. I'm sure there's no problem as far as America is concerned, but I don't know about the other countries.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And this person is sending a comment, which is very good, Madam. I am one of your clients, and I just wanted to let everybody know that you are the best attorney in the United States.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank
you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Wong. And yeah, well, our time is up for today, Ms. Wong. But today I would just like to ask, what are the improvements that we have seen in immigration in the late months? Knowing that we've had some issues in the southern border because people always want to make it here no matter what. But I would like to hear from you what your advice is for those people that want to come to the United States, and how hard or how easy it is to get an immigration relief right now in this United States.
One thing that have changed, I noticed, is years ago, especially before 245I or before 911, really there's very little ways to get green card. Asylum is practically non-existent, because asylum normally is really for people who came undocumented. And most people in those days, people don't really care about green cards or work permit, because they could get a social security office. In the early days, they always get social until 94, 95 became harder, but you can still get it until 96, 97. So also in the early days, people don't apply for work permit. Or most Latino people, they go to immigration and get a voluntary departure just from the district director. In those days, the district director, what we call DD, they'll just sit there and sign 4 months BD, 5 months BD, and you can get a work permit right there, because you just go back next door and fill in some forms. They'll give you a work permit like for $20. So, but mostly people don't really need one, except the Latino people. And in those days, Latino people are paid very, very little, and they just want to go home, make some money, come here, make some money. So times have changed. Now Latino people make, if not more than the same, because they do a lot of jobs that most American people, they don't do, like landscaping. I've seen like people who really are wealthy, they live in big houses, because I see their tax returns. by doing landscaping. That's interesting. Landscaping nowadays, even though they may look white, they're very much from foreign-born people, and they start hiring people. But to keep the good people, because their bosses treat them poorly, they pay their people well. Because my bosses used to treat me poorly, not poorly, because those are the early days of lawyers. Law firms don't treat young lawyers well. So things have changed on work permits. You can now get a work permit. In those days, you don't even get a work permit more because there's no need. But if you want one, there's really no pathway to get a work permit.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Wong, for your answers. Thank you so much for your time, for your knowledge. And I'll see you next time, next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. in the Spanish Facebook. Thank you so much for all you do for the immigrant people like me and like you as well. And looking forward to see you next week.
And happy birthday. Enjoy
Thank
your
you
day.
so much.
Thank
Thank you so much. I will enjoy so much. Thank you, and see you next time, Ms. One. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And for everybody who has joined us today, don't forget that you can call. The phone number is 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984. Attorney Margaret W. Wong, with over 46 years of experience working in the immigration field. 216-279-3984, 216-279-3984.